Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gloss Genius Community Genius Hour. My name is Danny Berkowitz, and I am the community manager here at GG. I am so excited to host tonight's conversation with a couple of our genius friends and a couple of our geniuses on the team here. And I am just so excited for everyone who's joined. I see we've got a lot of people in the queue. Just to orient ourselves, you'll see some reactions happening. You can go ahead and react with some thumbs up, some heart eyes, anything that makes you kind of excited. We want to make this a really interactive conversation because let's just break the mold for how we feel about taxes, shall we? Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So before I introduce everyone who's on the call, Kenesha and Taylor, I wanted to give us just a little bit of orienting of what our night is going to be like. We have a couple different slides that will help you feel comfortable on this call and kind of call out the elephant in the room. We'll also introduce my co-hosts this evening, Kenesha Coleman and Taylor Armstrong, who will each share a little bit of wisdom from their experience and some resources that will be really helpful for you. And we also have a little bit of an education hour with Kenesha to learn from and be inspired by her journey as the Beauty CPA, all the way through kind of what is her why and what's motivating her to work with beauty pros. Then we'll round out the conversation with ways that Gloss Genius can help you manage and stay on top of your taxes if you're a part of our Gloss Genius community. And with that, we also have a couple goodies and freebies for everyone tonight. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. One quick thing, I see lots of people are using the incredible reactions. I just want to remind everyone that we do have a chat function, but please use the question function if you have a question. Our team, our Gloss Genius team behind the scenes is moderating the chat and the questions. So if you have one for Kenesha or one for one of us at Gloss Genius, please type it in the question function and we'll manage it from there. I don't know where Kenesha went. Let's see where she went. This is the trouble with virtual events. You just never know. But why don't we get started? So I'll go ahead and begin the conversation. Let me see actually really quickly if Kenesha is back on so I can invite her. Okay, I'll wait for her. When we were thinking about hosting a program like this, we wanted to address the elephant in the room. And to a lot of you, that, when it comes to taxes and managing your business and the finances, it can be a really scary thing, kind of overwhelming. There's Kenesha. I see her coming on through. Okay. So one of the, elephants in the room that I think we all can relate to, and something that we may have all felt at the same time, is this fear of filing. Raise your hand or put in the chat. Have you ever felt like, how can I conquer this? There's this huge mountain in front of me. There's a ton of paperwork. There's a ton of filing. How can I conquer my anxiety around doing taxes? I see those reactions, like the Home Alone face. Yes, Barbette, I see you in the chat. Shauna, yes. Lots of people feel this way. Riley, okay. So I just wanted to call it out because I had a feeling that we've all experienced this sort of stress or anxiety around doing our taxes. And I want everyone to remember that you're not alone. And that's why we're hosting a program like tonight, because we're going to put it out in the open. We're going to equip ourselves with the education that we need to be successful. And at the end of the day, you're going to walk away with some tidbits that you didn't know before, or maybe you did and feel a little bit more confident. Okay. So, all right. I love this. Trudy, you got this. I am here. I want to catch up with you after this tax season because I bet you won't be scared to death after this. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce my co-hosts for this evening. Kenesha, Taylor, hello. Thank you for waiting through my spiel. And welcome to joining us this evening.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Fabulous. I feel so lucky, Kenesha, that not only are you in our Gloss Genius orbit in our network, but that you are such an inspiration as a human being, and a professional, and someone who's really in our corner in terms of beauty pros. So we'll get into your story in just a little bit. But Taylor, I wanted to introduce you as well. You are our Director of Customer Experience or Customer Operations at Gigi, and head up our incredible customer experience and support team. We've got some folks behind the scenes tonight, but Taylor, welcome. I'm so happy that you're my co-host tonight.
So excited to be here and offer this to our awesome members.
Yay. And then there's me. I run community at Gloss Genius, and I work with all of our ambassadors and educators and do a couple programming and events every month. If you're interested in learning more about Gloss Genius community and how you can be a part of events like this more often, stay tuned and stay in touch. So let's get started. Kenesha, it is my pleasure to officially introduce you to our Gloss Genius community. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please say hello, introduce yourself, and tell us your story.
Absolutely. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to come spend your Monday night hearing about Texas. So, bless your hearts, okay? I'm Kenesha Coleman. I am better known as the Beauty CPA. I did not name myself, somebody else named me that. So, it kind of stuck. But I am a CPA, I'm a certified tax coach and an IRS enrolled agent. I spent my career is about 13 years old. Most of those years was with the IRS as a revenue agent. So when I hear a lot of you in the chat and your reactions saying how scared you are, I hope that after tonight you will see that the IRS, they just made up of regular old folk like me, and we are not, most of us are not scary. It's some scary, but most of us are not scary. um I I have worked in government, like I said, for the IRS. I've worked for multinational billion-dollar corporations in the tax department as well as in public accounting firms. But I went off on my own for numerous reasons. Okay, but when I did, I had the tough decision of what I was going to niche or niche in, right? And I'm sure all of you have had the same conversation at some point, right? What specifically were you going to do in the industry? And so when I got challenged with that question, I was like, okay, who I was thinking to myself, what do I in my personal life spend a lot of time and money on, right? What has been most impactful for me? And for me, that was beauty. Okay, when I was a young lady and I was going through elementary, middle school, high school, I had bad acne. And I thought it was like, oh, you're going through puberty, you get over it. Well, I'm one of the ones that never got over it. Okay. I still kind of like on that skincare journey, but what helped me get through that, as I got older was for sure dermatologists, estheticians, same thing kind of with my hair, had some challenges with that. And hairstylist was really kind of like my saving grace to get my self confidence and self esteem back. Okay. And so that's what helped me make the decision to specialize or niche, however you say it, in beauty because of the impact it has had on my life, my sisters, my mother, my aunts. We had a family just full of women. Women is outnumbering in my family, but one thing that is at our core is beauty, and not even just for vanity. That's one thing I want you guys to realize is that beauty isn't just vanity. It's not just about, how we look on our outer, but when we look in the mirror and if we don't like what's staring back at us, it definitely can take a toll on how you feel on the inside. And then you go out in this world and the way you act, the way you move is going to be affected as well, right? Your whole life can start to get affected by this, just looking in the mirror and not liking what you see. So that's why I decided to specialize in beauty.
Ugh, you are such an inspiration. And something you didn't mention is that you're also a mom. Like
Yeah,
that's a huge part of your life as well. And for you to have had such a beautiful arc in your journey, realizing what your why was and digging deeper into that. I wanted to also share for our community tonight that Kenesha is kind of up for grabs. We want you to interact with her. And so she has a couple different freebies and things for the guests tonight. We might just follow up with that for all of the attendees who join us. You can sign up to do a discovery call with her, chat about the ultimate tax deductions guide that she has for her network and for her clients, and then also a beauty business roadmap, which I think is just incredible, really handy things to have in your back pocket at all times. And the reality is, Kenesha, we need more people like you. And, tonight, one of the things that we wanted to do was this education hour and offer our community an opportunity to get ready and become a little bit more confident in knowing what's ahead. And specifically this year, because we know that there's a lot of changes to the tax code, and specifically with the 1099K, how much it will affect and impact Gloss Genius or any beauty professional in general. So we'd love to I'm going to switch the presentation really quick. And I'm going to, okay, so Kenesha, this is your curriculum, and this is your, Coleman tax package. Tonight, we'll go through a high level understanding of 1099K, what's on tap, what to be expecting in the changes. And then, yes, this will be on replay. And again, if you have questions specifically about your own tax information, I want to just put a disclaimer that Gloss Genius nor Kenesha are here to tell you exactly what to do. Just as a general, we're here to provide you with opportunities to learn more and to dig deeper, but it will ultimately come in the form of Kenesha sharing her experience as a CPA, but also resources that we've developed for you specifically. So Kenesha, I just wanted to start that off to make sure it was pretty clear.
Yeah.
Oh, and look at that. That was the first slide. Shut up now. I'm just here to look pretty. Okay, go ahead. Take it away.
All right. So let me just restate this disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. You can't use this for statutory legal support to do anything on your actual taxes. Okay. So this is here to protect you. So if you would like to learn more, just make sure you just get in contact with us and we can kind of go over your unique profile. All right. We can go to the next slide. So yes, I've already done this. So we're not going to waste no more time on this. You know who I am, and I'm going to tell you where to find me, but let's talk about 1099K. Now, how many of you are terrified of this new rule? I hope you're not looking like this guy here on the slide, because maybe you are. There we go. We see those reactions. You can go to the next one here. And then for the next slide, how many of you didn't even know there was a new 1099K rule? Some of y'all, before this webinar, right? Maybe you didn't even know, but kudos to you for taking the first step and coming here to learn all about it. That's okay. We can go to the next slide. Now, I put this in every deck I do, right? Because I want to remind you, you guys, I've seen through the chat, a lot of you have been owning your businesses for a very long time, but even those of you that are very new, just remember when it comes to taxes, just because you don't know something doesn't preclude you from being responsible for it, okay? But I know y'all know that because y'all here and y'all ready to get geared up to learn about this new 1099K rule. So, okay, what's it? Let's get to it, right? what is the rule? Okay, so we can go to the next slide. The IRS announced this rule during 2021. Remember, COVID came, the administration was passing all types of new tax laws. This was one of them. So in 2021, they announced that starting this year, that small business owners who was accepting payment, credit card transactions, or payments through other payment gateways, that the 1099 rule was going to be changing. Now, let me tell you what it was before. Before, the threshold was you wouldn't get a 1099K unless the transactions was more than $20,000 and 200 transactions. You had to have both of those. You had to have more than 200 transactions, and the total had to be more than 20K. Okay. The new rule, what they changed it to, was now it went from 20K to $600. That's a huge jump. That's a huge jump. Now you're going to get a 1099K from these companies, right? If the transactions was more than $600 for the entire year, and any number of transactions was up for grabs. Now, I know for a lot of you, this threshold, you make that in a day. You probably make that in a day. So this applies to all of you. I'll tell you why they did this. They did this because of COVID. We're going to blame everything. Everything is being blamed on the pandemic, okay? So this is no exception. When COVID happened, most people were picking up side gigs or just getting into the gig economy or starting side hustles. And they were not reporting the income. Just sell me, just Venmo me, just Cash App, just do that. And they wasn't getting the 1099K. IRS had no idea they was making this money. IRS wasn't getting their cut, okay? So they changed the rule, and now they're going to get a lot more of their cut from this. We can go to the next slide here. All right, so what is the 1099K? This is a screenshot of what it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is actually the 2022 version. So this should be exactly what yours will be looking like if you get one. You're going to see, obviously, the person that issued it to you. It'll have all your information on that. It's going to have the gross amount, and it's even going to break it down by month. So it's going to be a very detailed transaction. It's going to be mailed to you. The companies that issue this to you have to have it in the mail, either virtually or like actual snail mail, by the end of January 31st. So you should get it, either electronically that day or very early first week of February. But it is going to report all the payment card transactions that flow through that system. So if you're using more than one system, you could get multiple of these. You got to keep track of what you've been using. I have a fair amount of beauty clients. I have had beauty clients go from Square to Gloss Genius and to all those other ones, okay? And if you're using more than one, you gotta look at every single form, but hopefully you're just using Gloss Genius and you got one to worry about, okay? But again, you're gonna get one from all the payment card transactions. That's debit, that's credit, and then also you'll get from those other payment gateways, like the Cash Apps and the Venmos and the PayPals, things like that, okay? Remember this threshold though, more than $600, any number of transactions, and look out for those starting January the 31st. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Now let's talk about what this information is going to tell you, okay? So you're gonna check your mail, your email, you're gonna see you have your 1099K from Gloss Genius available, and you're gonna go take a look at it. Like I said, you're gonna see a total amount for the year. You're gonna see it broken out by the amount you received by month for the entire year as well, okay? One thing I want y'all to keep in mind, that the amounts on this form are going to be gross. Gross. What do I mean by gross? Okay. What I mean by gross is it's going to be that top figure that you made the sale for. Okay. That is going to include any discounts, any refunds or any adjustments or any fees. Okay, the processor is not going to adjust the number to take out that amount. It's going to be that gross number. Okay, and so what you're going to be looking at is okay, this is my gross number, but obviously we're going to talk about in the later slides the adjustments that you will need to make in the case you're using this form to actually file your taxes. Now, take a look at this slide here and be very familiar with what transactions being included on this form, right? This is going to be all the payments that's flowing through the entity that's issuing the 1099-K. So these are all card transactions. And then it's also going to be any third-party payment gateways, okay? So again, there are like a small number of very big ones. There are not a lot of tiny ones. There's some big guys that are very standard. It's going to be your Venmo. It's going to be your Cash App. It's going to be your PayPal. Zelle actually came out in the news not too long ago saying, well, we don't have to do that. We're not doing that. We don't have to do that. The reason why they don't have to do that is because Zelle doesn't like hold money like a bank. Like, for example, when you get money in PayPal, that money can sit there until you cash out. Zelle doesn't do that. Zelle is just an intermediary to send money, okay? But any merchant account or payment processors that can act as a bank and hold money for you, they will issue you a 1099-K, okay? Let's go to the next one. Now, I want to get more granular on what these numbers mean. Remember, I said the numbers you're going to see is going to be gross, your gross amount, meaning that, let's walk through just a real quick scenario. Let's say I come to one of you and I get my hair done and it costs $120, okay? What you're going to see on that 1099-K is the $120. It's not going to take into account that you like me and maybe you gave me a discount because it was my birthday. Or maybe I refunded a part of the transaction was a product and I got a refund for it. Or maybe Gloss Junior took a little small amount for a fee out, right? It's not going to take account any of that. That's something you're going to have to do in the tax return. It's going to just hit that 120 gross amount, okay? You got to adjust it. So please remember this. Do not take that 1099-K and look at it, you see 50K. Do not just slap the 50K on your tax return, because at that point, you're going to be overpaying, over-reporting income and overpaying tax because you haven't taken into account any fees, refunds, or discounts. So you got to remember that, okay? Now, it's going to show you, obviously, in the past year, but again, this slide is going to reiterate other fees that you got to remember, okay? So just keep in mind, it's going to be gross, adjust it for fees. Now, I have two workflows. I'm really big on workflows. We can go to that next one where you were at. I'm really, really big on workflows, right? So meaning that in a practical sense, we're in February, you got to file a tax return, you got your 1099-K in front of you. What do we do? All right. This first slide here is what we do before prepping that return. Okay. The first thing I want you to do is make sure your name is right. Okay. Either, I know it seems super simple, but companies make mistakes. Companies make mistakes. Not Gloss Genius, but other companies make mistakes. So make sure it's your name. Make sure it's your business name. Make sure it's your identification number, whether you're using your social security number or your entity identification number. That's the number like for your business. The reason why this is important is because right when Gloss Genius issues you your 1099-K, they're also going to get an IRS a copy. They are also going to give the IRS a copy. So we got to make sure what they gave the IRS is correct. So make sure your name is right. Make sure your SSN or your EIN is right. Secondly, don't get me for this. I want you to do a little bit of accounting. just a little bit of forensic accounting. I want you to make sure that what's on that 1099K is correct. Okay. And whoever you're using, whether that's Gloss Genius or some other system, they should have sales reports that will, in fact, allow you to do this. I know Gloss Genius does. Okay. They should have sales report that you can run for the year that would allow you to reconcile what's on that 1099K to the sales record, gross sales records in their system. And if there are any differences, they should be very easily explainable. Very easy. Okay. Now, once you've done that, I want you to make sure the number of payment transactions is correct. You can also get that from the sales report. And I want you to make sure that merchant category code is correct also. Merchant category code is correct also. That just describes what your business does, what category your industry is in. Okay, to their ass. If any of this is wrong, you got to get in contact with the payor, the entity issuing the 1099K. You got to get in contact with them to get something corrected. Okay, do not file or rely on anything if anything is incorrect. All right. Now, we did that. We did our audit. We made sure we're working with the right numbers and the right things. So we can go to the next slide so I can tell you what to do with that 1099K when you're filing. All right. Now, here's the second elephant in the room. Okay, the second one. All right. And this may be some good or bad news for some of you. If you have been doing bookkeeping all year, whether you yourself or you're paying someone, you can just save this form for your records and be done. That's it. You can save it and be done. How neat is that? I've been doing bookkeeping all year, so I can just get it, make sure it's correct, reconcile it, and then I can just put it in the folder for my records, and that is it. Now, I know some of you are like, why is that? Why do the people that do bookkeeping get away with not having to do anything with the 1099K? Because remember, the 1099K reports to you your sales, and so does your bookkeeping, right? When it left the system, like, okay, customer pays you, transaction goes through Gloss Genius. Gloss Genius does their adjustments, and then they deposit the net amount in your bank. Your bank is connected to your bookkeeping system. So essentially, the 1099K is reporting the same sales information that your bookkeeping system should be reporting. So you don't want to report both because you'll be double counting at that point. Okay? So if you've been doing bookkeeping all year and been keeping it up to date, you should be good to go. You can just say that 1090K for your records. But if you have not been doing bookkeeping, I won't call you out. I used to ask that question. Raise your hand if you ain't been doing bookkeeping. I won't call you out. We ain't got to tell your business. You got to tell your business here tonight to all these folks, okay? But you know who you are. And something just happened inside your chest right now when I said that, okay? If you have not been doing bookkeeping all year, one, do it, okay? But if you're like, nope, it's too late, whatever, I'll start fresh at 23. I'll tell you how you can use the 1099K to reconstruct your income, okay? So if you haven't been doing bookkeeping, I want you to gather all your 1099Ks. Again, if you wasn't with Gloss Genius all year, maybe you was using somebody else and then you came to your senses and made the switch. I'm kidding for anybody that's from somewhere else. Gather all your 1099Ks from all your systems, okay? I want you to do the same steps that was on the previous slide. We got to make sure everything is correct first, okay? But once we've done that and we have it all here, you got to add the rest of your sales. Remember, only thing that's flowing through the 1099K is like credit card and electronic transactions. You may have taken cash. You may have Venmos as well, okay? Well, no, Venmos will be on the 1099K. This should be Zelle. You may have cash, you may have Zelles, okay, which doesn't flow through a 1099K. So you have got to include that information in with what's on the 1099K. You got to include it in, Okay, remember 1099K is not the only source of your income if you're taking cash in Zelle. You got to add it to the 1099K amount and then adjust it for any refunds, discounts, and fees. And there you have a number that you can report on your tax return that should not be double counting, and it includes income from all sources. And then you're also taking out money you did not get from refunds and discounts and money you've paid out to the payment processor. Does that make sense? Please give me a thumbs up if that makes sense what I just said. Oh, we got thumbs up. I'm not completely confusing people. That's a good sign. It's a good sign. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, that was it. That was it. Now I know what you're probably saying, like, no, it can't be that simple. But really, it actually was. When the IRS puts out news releases or they talk about stuff like this in the news, I need you guys to understand that they are looking for views, eyeballs, outrage. They're looking for anything to like be dramatic, okay? But sometimes the stuff is not that like complex or dramatic at all, especially when you meet with a competent tax professional. They should be able to break this stuff down really, really simple for you, okay? Y'all, give me a happy face if that was helpful. Just happy face. Just let me know that we got all types of vibes here. We got vibes. We got faces. We got, okay, they're laughing at me too. I hope that's a good but yes, remember, if you're doing bookkeeping though and keeping it up to date, you can just make sure it's correct and keep it for your records. That's another plug to a push to do bookkeeping all year, because then none of this even really, you ain't got to sweat over it that much. But I'm available for questions if people have any.
Oh my goodness. There were so many moments where people were saying that their minds were being blown. Kenesha, you are such a well of wisdom and knowledge. And thank you for answering questions before we even knew how to ask the question. Like you provided so much. I think that the next step, so lots of folks, first of all, we have an amazing group tonight. I am loving how many people are on this call and how engaged everyone is in the chat and in the questions. If you have a personal question or want to know something specific, hop in the questions tab and type it in there. Our team is behind the scenes and answering feverishly live. But I think that the next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch on over back to our conversation. Before I switch on over, I just want everyone to get a chance to take a look at Kenesha's contact page. Please follow her on Instagram. I think it's the Beauty CPA is your handle as well. And just like stay in touch, because she is an incredible resource that we wanted to share with our community. So let me go ahead and do this, and then we'll switch back. Oops, sorry, excuse me. Okay, so we'll switch back in just a couple minutes, but I wanted to sort of gear and like tie it all up with what Gloss Genius can do to help you manage. And for those of you who are on the call who don't use GG right now, it's totally okay. We'd love for you to learn more. We'll be sending a follow-up with information about Gloss Genius after this call. But for those who do, I wanted to introduce Taylor and bring her on the call because our team does get a lot of questions around 1099s, around managing your finances, and we're all about helping you manage your finances like a boss. That is Gloss Genius's goal, is to support you as an entrepreneur and you as a small business owner, or you running a whole salon with team members and all these things that you got to take care of. So keep making this as easy as possible was really our goal tonight. Taylor, I'd love to pass the mic to you in a second. Kenesha, just wanted to say thank you again for sharing your wisdom with us. That was just honestly invaluable knowledge. And I know everyone's going to be rewatching this after the fact so that we can get ourselves set up for success. So thank you again, Kenesha. And I want folks to ask you questions in just a couple minutes. Let's turn to Taylor and then we'll wrap it up. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Take it away, Tay.
Sounds great. Well, hey, everyone. I'm Taylor, as I've been introduced. I wanted to share, Gloss Genius does have a lot of tools to help you for success this tax season. We will be reporting all of those credit card transactions. Our team will be reaching out with those 1099s and also confirming that all that information is correct beforehand, as Kenesha said. So do make sure to check that when we send that email out. One of those great reports, as some folks called out in the chat, is that sales report. So definitely make sure to export that, look it over. We also offer an incredible support team, although I might be a little biased, who are available to answer any questions if something seems off about that report, or anything else. And we're always here to help. Just any questions you have about the app as you're filing for that 1099 season. We may have to send you over to a tax professional if it gets a little too, tax related, if you will. But we are here to help and answer questions and send you in the right direction. We'll also be sending some email updates to give you some reminders of when you're sending stuff off and whatnot. And we also aim to provide a lot of different resources, which Danny will be able to give you some more information on shortly. So with that, I'm also here to answer questions, but so is Kenesha. So let's get into it. Great. How do you want to do this, Danny? Would you like me to answer the questions or share them out loud?
I think that we have some ones that have come through the chat that our team may be feeding to us. So feel free to take it from there. You can read the question out loud, and then let's just pick maybe the top 3 or 4. I'm looking at the time, and then we can move forward. I see a lot of questions about bookkeeping and what that means. Can we answer that first? Because I'm also curious, just to cheat the line.
Oh yeah. Okay, so bookkeeping. I like to keep things super simple, just because I'm a super simple person. Bookkeeping is just tracking all money in, all money out. There's obviously tons of tools out there you can use. I think I saw in the chat Excel, I saw Google Sheets, I saw QuickBooks. A lot of people ask me what's the best thing to use. The best thing to use is the thing you're going to keep up with. Some people swear by their Google Sheets. And if that's what you're going to keep up with, I say go for it. I don't want to push you into QuickBooks because you can start it and then you just leave that thing collecting dust all year. You never use it. And so do what's going to work for you. Within our firm, we do use QuickBooks for everybody just because I personally like QuickBooks. They don't pay me to say that. They should, but they don't. But I truly, really love the product. But bookkeeping is you're tracking all money in, all money out.
Thank you for answering that. Okay, Taylor, did you want to take it away with your questions that you have lined up?
Sure. I had a few sent through to me, and I did notice in the chat, yes, we do have a number of reports that you can use to help as well with that bookkeeping. So keep that in mind, as well as QuickBooks is pretty great too. Let's see, what do we have here? Nick sent me over a couple of questions from folks. The first question, does Gloss Genius report cash, and what types of payments are reported? As required by the IRS, all card payments will be included in the 1099 total, even if it is fully or partially refunded, as Kenesha kind of called out earlier. So to account for all other transactions, including cash, you're going to want to review your sales report. Although cash sales are not reported to the IRS on your 1099 form, it's great to have those reports to pull from the sales report for the fiscal year. Will be the best place to look for those numbers for you to kind of divvy all that up. All right, let's see. Next question I have here. Why are you reporting my income to the IRS? Great question. I think that Kenesha did answer that just a bit, but since January 2022, as she mentioned, those payment app providers such as PayPal, Venmo, and other platforms just like Gloss Genius are required by the IRS to report a user's business transactions. So defined as a card payment or a good or service, and to furnish a 1099 if they total up to $600 or more for the year. And that is drastically lower than that $20K. So I'm sure a lot of folks will be filing for the first time this year. Let's see. I also have, what about refunds and discounts? Seeing that question a lot. Since it is required by the IRS, all card payments will be included in the 1099 total, even if it has been fully or partially refunded. We do get a lot of questions about that in support, so keep that in mind. To better identify those refunds, you can take a look at your sales report to see the total amount of refunded payments. So that will hopefully make things just a tad bit easier when you're trying to figure all that out. Let's see. We have a couple more questions. I'm just going to take one of these. Let's see here. If I have other team members, do they get a 1099? That's a good one. Individual team members do not receive a 1099. The information entered within the identity verification section of Gloss Genius is what's going to determine the information that's used for that 1099K. This is usually done when first setting up your Gloss Genius account. We will ask you about your business type and ask for that tax identification number. Let's see, do we think we have probably time for just one more question then?
I think one more, and then I have a couple resources that I wanted to share with everyone too, with like our workbook and stuff. So do two more. Let's do two more questions.
All right, let's do two more. Let's see here.
I also want to say that I saw a question very quickly come through the chat around wouldn't you use Gloss Genius for bookkeeping? And the answer is you can use Gloss Genius to track and monitor all of your payments and expenses. So it is a tool that you can use for both.
Thank you, Danny. All right, here we go. Two more questions for y'all. And keep in mind, we are going to, even if we don't get to your questions in the question section tonight, I have a team of folks who are going to go through any that don't get answered, because there are quite a few folks in attendance asking questions, who will be able to follow up tomorrow morning. So we're going to divvy those up amongst the team and get back to you. So hang tight if we don't get to it during this session. Why is my 1099K registered to my name instead of my business? I did see that a few times last year as well. So similar to that last question, this will depend on the information entered when setting up your account. If your personal name was entered along with your social security number, that is the information that will be on your 1099. If you do have a business you would like to be on your 1099 instead of your personal info, you can absolutely reach out to the team at support@Gloss Genius for help with that. We can help you make those updates. And that is another reason why we are going to send out an email shortly just asking you to verify all of the information that's on that form. If it's not right, let us know so we can get it fixed before we file. That'll be much easier than having to get updates made or adjustments rather after filing. So please do keep an eye out for that email. And if you don't receive it, reach out to us, but you should be receiving it at the email that you provided to us. Perfect. All right. What if I did not get one last year? So our last question, with the recent federal changes to the reporting requirements, there are tons of people who are going to be in the same boat this year. So later this month, Gloss Genius, along with your payment processor Stripe, who we do use as a payment processor, will be reaching out to confirm the tax details. If you want to get a head start on that, you want to have a gander, reach out to us early. We love to see it. You can head directly into bank account and verification section of the identity details to make sure that information is accurate. You'll also be able to opt into delivery of emails in one of the upcoming email communications so that your 1099 will be sent directly to the email that you verified. All right, Danny, I'll let you go ahead and take it away with resources. And again, folks, we're going to do our very best to get back to all of you within the next 15 minutes. But of course, some folks will be getting a response tomorrow.
Kenesha, did you see any in there? I see you in the chat as well. Wanted to offer your wisdom as well in case you wanted to answer a few questions that you see live.
Yeah, there was one really big one. Someone asked about bonus depreciation. Bonus depreciation meaning you can take 100% of the cost of any equipment in your salon or spa, or like flooring, like if you redid the floor to be hardwood, laminate, whatever, 100% of that cost, you can write it off on your taxes. This year's the last year for 100%. Next year is going to drop to 80%. So I did see something about a vehicle. Yes, you can have tax benefits related to your vehicle, the portion that you're using for your business though, right? Because I'm sure you do some personal things as well. So just remember to track your miles, and you can use either the actual method or you can just do the mileage method as well. And then 1099Ks are only issued for businesses, not personal. Only businesses, not personal. That's why it's important to keep these two separate. Because if you got personal flowing through that business, then your 1099K is going to be overstated. Okay? IRS is going to know that. And then for anybody that's like, I promise you, Gloss Genius is not working for the man. They are reporting the income because they are legally required to. Okay? Legally required to. It is tax law. Okay? And then, yep, tax tips are taxable income. So you have to pay them. You have to put them on your taxes. You have to. Okay. That's all I saw.
Sounds good. And you're available. Kenesha, please put your stuff in the chat, your contact information, just in case folks didn't catch that on the slide. I just want to have it there for all time. Okay, so let me pull this last slide. Okay. So a couple of resources from Gloss Genius that we wanted to share to equip you as well is number one, our Gloss Genius 1099 workbook. This is all about navigating your 1099 taxes as a beauty pro. Gloss Genius was created for and by beauty pros, so we really try to curate and design all of the resources that we offer to be as relevant and interesting as possible for you. So this is a great example of that. Let me go ahead. Did we put that in the chat so that folks can download it? Okay, great. Seeing that some folks have already downloaded it, it is available for you to look through. I'll show you a sneak peek in just a second. Another thing I wanted to throw out is we at Gloss Genius, we have our monthly community programming like this, our Community Genius Hour, but we also offer exclusively for Gloss Genius members this opportunity to join a Boss Talk, #BossTalk, which we will be hosting shortly around tax season. Sarah Eisman is sharing something. Can everybody see that, or is that just me? Okay, great. Sarah Eisman is incredible, an amazing member of our support team, and actually hosts these Boss Talks frequently. So she'll be breaking down the tax season, making it totally conquerable. I love that attitude, Sarah. That's exactly what we were going for. It's going to be an info-packed session. They'll walk you through tax season, and you'll be able to sign up right through there. So make sure that you register for that. And that will definitely be a deep dive on all of this. So make sure that you join that as well. And I will share the link to the workbook. I do have a link. Give me just one sec. Let me change this. Actually, I think I have a friend on the Gloss Genius side that could probably share that. Moshe, if you're on here, I'd love for you to share the link for folks to check this out. But we also have it downloadable through Livestorm through this platform too. So just as a high level skip through, this is our free workbook for navigating your taxes as a beauty pro. And I won't go through everything because I want you to really experience it for yourself. But ultimately, it's going to be a 411 on understanding those tax terms, expenses, making expenses really easy with Gloss Genius, and then finding the right tax pro for you. Although we are in favor of Kenesha Coleman of Coleman Tax. And you can download the taxes workbook right there. Look at that. Sarah Eisman got my back. So you'll have it there, and then it includes some IRS resources, and then how Gloss Genius makes tax time a breeze. So we really want to just highlight, like, you can do this. It is possible, and having support is not embarrassing. Asking for help is commendable, and I want every professional on this call, whether you're a part of the Gloss Genius Network or not, to know that you can do this. You do have the confidence, and it's just about equipping yourself with the education you need to be successful. So I think that's it for our programming this evening. I want to thank the both of you for joining me. Kenesha, Taylor, Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your time. And I'm really, really grateful for everyone else on this call as well, who has just shown so much support. And even if you were asking, I love the quote, like the dumbest question is the one that you don't ask. So there's no dumb questions. Everyone really deserves to have that space. Oh, it looks like we're losing Kenesha just in time. Saved by the bell. Thank you, everyone. And if you have any, like I said, we're going to be, can you hear us? No. Saved by the bell. This is how it works. I just go with the internet, go with the flow. We will be reaching back out to all of our attendees this evening. Thank you again for joining, and I hope that you consider Gloss Genius if you are not part of our family yet. Talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.